I never thought a single mission could change the course of my life so drastically. I was just a salvage operator on the fringes of human space, scraping by on derelict ships and abandoned stations, when the call came in. The distress signal was faint, almost imperceptible among the usual white noise of the void expanse, but my instincts told me to follow it. That decision would lead me to the most extraordinary encounter of my life, and the most dangerous. The signal emanated from the outskirts of the ether sector, a region infamous for uncharted hazards, unstable wormholes, rogue asteroid clusters, and tales of alien predators that even the seasoned galactic freighters avoided. But something in that faint, pleading beacon called to me. It wasn't just a distress signal. There was a pulse of urgency in it, a rhythmic cadence that almost sounded alive. By the time I arrived, my ship, the Nomad's Reach, had already endured minor hull breaches from micrometeorites that swarmed around the sector like a storm. I followed the signal to a debris field, a shattered moon station, orbiting a dying star. The station's hull was fractured, pieces floating free in the zero-gravity void. And among the debris, I saw her. She was unlike anything I had ever encountered. Her skin glimmered faintly, like molten silver reflecting the dying light of the star. Her eyes, large, luminous, and impossibly expressive, fixed on me as if she had been waiting a lifetime for someone to arrive. She was restrained in some sort of containment net, injuries visible along her arms and legs, and the technology trapping her seemed far beyond anything human. Her presence was regal, commanding even in captivity, yet there was a vulnerability that made my blood run hot with both fear and resolve. "I can't move," she whispered in a melodious voice that resonated in my chest like a low-frequency hum. "They'll kill me if I'm not freed soon." I didn't hesitate. Salvagers aren't known for heroism, but something about her made me act. I studied the alien tech, guessing at circuits and energy nodes, manipulating them with whatever knowledge I had from human systems. Minutes stretched like hours, the hum of her voice urging me forward, and finally, the net disintegrated with a flash of light and sparks. She was free. "Thank you," she said simply, but the tone carried a weight I couldn't decipher. Her eyes bore into mine, a mix of gratitude, fear, and something else I didn't understand yet. "I am Lyria, Princess of the Solari." I froze. The Solari were almost mythic in human lore, an advanced alien civilization rumored to be both beautiful and deadly, rarely interacting with humans. And here she was, wounded and alive, in my hands. You're welcome," I said, awkwardly. "I'm just a salvage operator." Her gaze softened, but not entirely. "Then fate is cruel and kind in the same breath. A human saved a princess of the Solari. You may not understand the consequences." Before I could respond, alarms blared across the remnants of the station. Energy shields sparked as autonomous defense drones activated. Whatever entity had captured her wasn't willing to let her go easily. "We need to move," I shouted, grabbing her arm and hauling her toward the Nomad's Reach. The flight back through the debris field was harrowing. Drones fired plasma rounds, and I maneuvered through fractured station modules with a mix of luck and instinct. Lyria clung to me, surprisingly heavy with the weight of her injured body, but not just physically. There was a strange energy radiating from her that tugged at my mind, almost like a gravitational pull. I had to keep my focus, or we'd both die. By the time we reached my ship and I initiated the jump sequence, my heart was pounding. She sat across from me in the cockpit, silent, her eyes studying me. I finally broke the tension. "You're not going to explode or anything, are you?" I asked nervously. A hint of amusement flickered across her expression. "Explode?
No.
But I will not allow you to leave me. Not yet." I blinked. Wait, what? Her gaze was unwavering. You saved my life. By the laws of my people, that binds you to me. You are now mine in a sense. Not ownership exactly, but a debt. A debt that cannot be ignored. I swallowed hard. A debt? You're saying I have to stay with you?
Yes.
And you will understand soon why this is not merely a formality. I didn't know whether to laugh or panic. Human law had no precedence for alien royal decrees. But there was something in her tone that made argument seem dangerous. She wasn't threatening me. Not yet, but I understood instinctively that refusal wasn't an option I wanted to test. Over the next few days, Lyria recovered aboard my ship. She had a strange healing process. Touching her hand to my arm transferred energy that mended minor cuts and bruises, yet left me drained and exhilarated at the same time. Her presence was intoxicating, her curiosity about humanity genuine and intense. She asked questions about everything: food, music, emotions, even mundane habits like sleeping patterns. In return, she shared glimpses of her people, a civilization bound by strict codes of honor, interwoven with technologies humans could barely comprehend. Despite my initial discomfort, I found myself drawn to her. There was a raw honesty in her demeanor, a sense of purpose intertwined with vulnerability. Every time she looked at me, I felt exposed, like she could see every thought I had, every fear I tried to hide. And the truth was, I was terrified. Not of her, but of losing her, or worse, discovering I was powerless against the galaxy's forces now targeting her. The first attack came suddenly. A Solari warship, massive and angular, emerged from a nearby hyperspace conduit. Their energy weapons lit up the darkness, and my ship's shield strained against the assault. Lyria stood beside me at the controls, her hands hovering above the console. "We cannot outrun them," she said, her voice calm but firm. "We must fight, or we will be destroyed." I looked at her, bewildered. "You fight? You're a princess." "Titles mean little when your life is at stake," she replied. Then, with a movement too fast for human eyes, she touched the ship's interface. Energy cascaded through the systems in ways I couldn't comprehend, and suddenly, we weren't just evading the warship. We were dismantling its targeting arrays, redirecting its energy against itself. I barely kept up with her instructions, pressing buttons, rerouting power, and watching in awe as she manipulated technology like an extension of her own body. Within minutes, the warship veered off, crippled but not destroyed, and we were alone in the cold void once more. That night, as we floated in silence, I realized something terrifying. I didn't want to leave her side. And judging by the way she studied me, I wasn't the only one feeling that pull. But the universe had a way of reminding us that bonds, however intense, were also vulnerabilities. Lyria spoke softly, almost contemplatively. "There is a faction within my people that seeks to claim me, not for rulership, but to wield me as a weapon. They believe the human who saved me can be persuaded to betray their own kind." I felt my stomach twist. "You think I'd what?" "I saved you because it was the right thing. I don't even know what their goal is." She smiled faintly. "That is why I chose you. You act from instinct, from honor, not fear or ambition. That is rare, even among humans." I wanted to argue, but I couldn't. There was a truth in her words that resonated deep in my soul. Somehow, in saving her, I had become part of something far larger than I could have imagined. Over the next week, we evaded pursuit, navigating treacherous regions of space where sensors failed and gravity anomalies threatened to tear the ship apart. Lyria taught me about the Solari, their history of exploration, conquest, and diplomacy. I taught her about humans, our stubborn resilience, flawed morality, and boundless creativity. A strange companionship blossomed, tempered by necessity and survival. Then, as we approached a hidden Solari sanctuary, the full weight of our reality hit me. The faction pursuing her had tracked us despite every precaution. A fleet of warships, sleek and deadly, awaited us. And Lyria turned to me with an expression I'll never forget. "This is where you decide. Will you stand beside me as I stand beside you? Or will you leave and let fate consume us both?" There was no hesitation. I had survived countless hazards, faced rogue AI, and navigated the void's most dangerous sectors. But nothing had prepared me for this. Choosing loyalty over survival, humanity over instinct. "I'm staying," I said, voice steady, though my heart raced. "You're not facing this alone." Her eyes softened, a mixture of relief and something tender I couldn't name. Then she did something that shocked me. She leaned forward and pressed her forehead to mine, a gesture of trust, unity, and perhaps something deeper. Energy pulsed between us, subtle but undeniable, and I realized that the bond she spoke of earlier wasn't just symbolic. It was tangible. It tied us together, human and alien, in ways that defied explanation. The battle that followed was nothing short of epic. Coordinating with Lyria, I piloted the Nomad's reach through maneuvers no human ship should survive. Energy shields flared, plasma volleys lit the darkness, and yet, step by step, we dismantled the fleet. The aliens attacking her were formidable, but they hadn't accounted for our combined ingenuity. By the time silence returned, the wreckage of the enemy fleet drifted through the void. Lyria turned to me, eyes glowing faintly in the dim cockpit light. "You were magnificent, more than I could have hoped for." I laughed nervously, wiping sweat from my brow. I had a pretty amazing partner. Her gaze lingered, unflinching. "And now you belong to me, in ways that go beyond debt or duty. I will not let you go, not because I demand it, but because I choose it. And I think you choose it too." I realized she was right. I had never chosen this life, yet I couldn't imagine it without her. Together, we had faced death, defied fate, and forged a bond that spanned species and worlds. As we set a course for the Solari Sanctuary, I felt a profound sense of purpose. Humanity had taught me survival, instinct, and courage, but it was Lyria who taught me connection, loyalty, and the weight of honor. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and indifferent. Yet in that moment, with the alien princess by my side, I felt unstoppable. Whatever challenges awaited us, I knew one truth above all. I had saved the princess. And now, willingly, she would not let me go. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. The silence after the battle was almost unsettling. Wreckage drifted past the cockpit windows, fractured Solari hull plating, ruptured energy cores slowly cooling, shards of once deadly warships now nothing more than cosmic debris. The Nomad's reach groaned softly as automated systems stabilized what little structural integrity remained. I let my hands fall from the controls, only then realizing how badly they were shaking. Lyria stood beside me, perfectly still. Her eyes glowed brighter than I'd ever seen them, not with aggression, but with something ancient and resolute. The energy she had been channeling slowly receded, like a tide withdrawing from shore. When it was gone, she exhaled, a sound so soft I almost missed it, and in that moment, she looked less like a princess and more like someone who had narrowly escaped becoming a weapon. "It's over," I said quietly, more to myself than to her. "For now," she replied. "But what you did today will echo far beyond this battlefield." I turned to her. "Meaning?" She met my gaze fully. You did not merely defend me. You defied a Solari Dominion fleet and lived. You fought not for power, not for reward, but because you chose loyalty. A pause. That makes you dangerous to the old order. That word again. Dangerous. I laughed weakly. Trust me, I didn't wake up today planning to become a galactic problem. Her lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile, but close. And yet you are. The sanctuary revealed itself moments later, a veil of distorted space peeling away to reveal an enormous structure embedded within a hollowed asteroid. Living architecture pulsed with soft bioluminescent light, grown rather than built. Solari sentinels moved into position, their weapons tracking us, then lowering as Lyria transmitted her royal sigil. We were allowed through. As the ship docked, the weight of everything we'd survived finally hit me. My knees nearly buckled when I stood, exhaustion flooding my body like a delayed shockwave. I didn't fall. Lyria caught me, her grip firm, steady. You pushed yourself beyond human limits, she said. Yeah, I muttered. Seems to be a theme lately. Inside the sanctuary, the truth came out. The Solari Council awaited us, ancient beings whose presence alone made the air feel heavier. They spoke of prophecy, of convergence, of how humanity had always been underestimated. How humans adapted faster than any species they had ever encountered. How my actions had shattered centuries of calculated control. You were meant to flee, one of them said, to survive quietly. I met their gaze, without bowing. Not really my style. That earned a ripple of reaction, surprise, curiosity, something like respect. Lyria stepped forward then. I invoke the right of binding, she declared. The chamber fell silent. My heart stopped. You want to maybe explain that first? She turned to me, eyes gentle but unwavering. I told you before. Saving my life bound us by debt. But choosing to stand with me, choosing again, knowing the cost that transforms the bond. The council stirred uneasily. The right has not been invoked with an off-worlder in over 1,000 cycles, one warned. And yet, Lyria replied, here we stand. Energy filled the chamber, not violent, not overwhelming, but right. I felt it resonate through my chest, through my bones, through every stubborn part of me that had ever refused to break. Images flooded my mind, stars I'd never seen, battles I'd never fought, futures branching endlessly outward. Then her voice, clear and steady inside my thoughts. You are free to refuse. I looked at her, really looked, at the alien princess who had been hunted, caged, almost erased, and who had trusted a nobody human salvager with her life. No, I said aloud. I'm done running. The rite completed itself naturally after that. There was no flash, no explosion, just understanding. The council felt it too. They bowed. Not to Lyria, to us. Later, much later, we stood together on the sanctuary's outer platform, watching distant stars burn against the dark. My old life felt impossibly far away now. The drifting stations, the lonely jumps, the quiet survival. Are you afraid? She asked. I considered it honestly. Yeah. Terrified. She nodded. Good. Courage without fear is ignorance. I smirked. You're surprisingly good at human wisdom. And you, she replied softly, are far more than your species believes itself to be. The galaxy didn't change overnight, but it noticed. A human had saved a princess and refused to let her become a tool. A human had stood against an empire and won through stubborn will and adaptability. Treaties shifted. Power structures cracked. Whispers spread through the stars. Humans were no longer predictable. As for me, I didn't lose my freedom. I chose a greater one. I saved the alien princess. And now she won't let me go. Not because she owns me, not because she has to, but because together we terrify the galaxy just enough to make it better. And honestly, I wouldn't trade that for all the quiet lives in the universe.